Yeah, so this is my 1974 Camaro. I got it in high school in like 1997, and of course it didn't look like this, but yeah, this is a one-off year when they made it. If you look at the back right here, so from 70 to 73 they had the fastback look, and in 74 they increased it by 7 inches, but they kept the back of it. So the 75s will have the 74 to 77 have the bumpers, but this is the only year where it had this. And most of the time people would get these 74s and they would put the 70 to 73 grills on them, because this was actually never a popular car. This never, the value never rose up on it.Ere actually the cheapest Camaros you could find. But now since then they've gone up in value. These were 5-mile-an-hour bumpers, but these could take way more punishment than 5 miles an hour, especially on new cars. It would completely destroy a new car. These are probably the heaviest and the more durable of the generation Camaros. I have in here a 355 small block, and I converted to serpentine belt over the V belt. It's pretty much all new metal from the front to back. This was reused. The nose was reused because I guess the aftermarket parts wasn't that good. So this is one of the few parts that was reused. This didn't come on a 74. This is a 77 piece. Other than that, I have, I tried to keep some stuff original and modify other parts. I wanted the old school look, where on the rims they would put the deep dish in the back and the regular rims in the front. That was a very, very popular style back then when they would mod the cars. I didn't want to do high profile tires. Well, this was actually considered high profile back in the day. It's still a work in progress of the rims and stuff, but yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how far it's come. So.
All right, I guess let's take it for a ride. Go have some fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you fire it up real quick?
All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Smells good.
Sounds better than it runs right now, but that'll change. It's still in the break-in phase.
Got the custom gauges too.
Yeah, so yeah, you can change. So this dashboard is a retro, so it has the old school look, and they have it digital on the bottom, and you're able to have your RPM gauges and quarter mile times and what gear you're in, time. Yeah, wasn't cheap, but it wasn't that much more expensive than buying the originals either, so.
That's pretty cool. It's a head turner.
Yeah, it still turns heads.
Does this work?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. That was custom. I had nothing to do with that. I know the hard.
Oh, that came with the car when you bought it?
Yeah. All the hardcore GM guys are like, why'd you put a sunroof on this thing? I'm like, I had nothing to do with it.
Even the kids love this thing.
Hey, the new Transformer movie that's going to come out, it's got this car back in it again.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, they don't have the new Camaro. They got the one with the bumper in it.
Oh, cool. I saw a Porsche in there in the preview.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, when the first Transformers came out, this car was a little more, people were like, oh man, that's a Transformers car. Why don't you paint it yellow? I'm like, no, I'm not painting this thing yellow. So because this is a 3-speed, I didn't want to put 411 gears or any, I still wanted the highway gears that it came in there. I mean, this thing already sucks enough gas already as is. I mean, you could go 30 miles and you lose a quarter of a tank. Gas mileage is really bad. I didn't want to just take this to the drag strip. I wanted to be able to enjoy it a little bit. So it's not going to have that snappish pickup where it just launches off the line and it just and it doesn't do that. It's a little bit sluggish off the line, and then it'll build up as we go. But I can go 135, 140 miles an hour with a 3-speed in this thing. So that's at least I can enjoy it. That's kind of like the whole main thing.
Have you had it? What's the highest you've had to so far?
Well, back in the day, I mean, I thought I was going 140, but that might not have been accurate. I mean, it might have been 135, 130. This will definitely do it. I mean, it'll definitely go past 130. Back then, it'll do 0 to 60 in first gear, and then take it to 100 in second gear, and then it'll keep going.
Well, I know it's faster than my Com G, so we proved that already.
Yeah, I mean, the carbs, I had the screws out to 3, but now it's at 5, so it's dumping a lot more fuel right now.
Oh, on the carburetor?
Yeah, so it's dialed, it's dumping a lot more fuel now than it did before. The only thing that sucks is when you start driving 80, 90 miles an hour, the temp, it's 178 now, but if you stay at 90, all of a sudden it just keeps creeping up and up. It's not like the newer cars,
right,
where it can hold the temps. It definitely, you can't do a really long distance. I mean, you can do 75, 80, and be all right.
Does this light up at all?
No. Yeah, there's still stuff that needs to be done, but for the most part, it's pretty, it's got new floors, new quarter panels, new fenders. Yeah, that stuff, and that's not really good on there.
It smells great.
Yeah. If you love the smell of gas, this is perfect for you.
It brings back my childhood, This is how you just smell everywhere.
Yeah.
Have you or can you use leaded fuel in this?
No, you can't. Probably like back in the day you could, but yeah, it's got a different setup to it. So.
Oh, okay. I pumped in the Grand Prix turbo. I don't care. It probably ruined the O2 sensor, but the car smelled great.
I mean, it could probably run it. I mean, it's not, So I'm in second gear. Let's see how far it winds out to. like it's not getting enough fuel.
Really?
Yeah. Like they had this thing dialed out to like 6 on the passenger side on the carb. There's how many screws out. Yeah, it's like you have to wait a minute and then go again. Yeah, it's still.
Feels faster than actually going in the old cars.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. And the old cars, you feel like you're hauling ass, but you're not really. No, but I mean, it feels good.
And this has a 4-barrel?
Yeah.
What size carburetor?
It's a 530 CFM.
What brand is it? Holly or?
It's a Holly.
Okay.
So yeah, they say a too big carburetor will fall flat on its face. So they said that this is about the right. It just needs the carb just needs to be dialed in better. Does better if I just keep it in drive, because it allows more. It pulls so much fuel. By the time I shift, it's like struggling to get it back.
Do you know what you got to do to fix that?
Oh, I can just take the screwdriver and just dial it out more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if I dial it out to 6, I probably won't have that problem. I mean, it'll do it like this just fine.
So you got your tuner in the trunk.
Yeah, my tuner is a fucking flathead.
I'm seriously like debating on just switching out and getting an old car because of all this crap going on, like the APA.
Yeah.
Get a carburetor.
See, it's different because I'm not switching through the gears. So this thing is still wanting more fuel, which is crazy, because I have it dialed at I have it dialed out at 5. All right, let me see something.
It?
Yeah, I'm just doing half turns. I'm not doing.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm trying to get it, you know. I'm just trying to get it as.
So is that for when you? Is that for the other?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't. All carburetors are different, but I mean, there's different ways to dial them. I just, you know, if you choke up the, you know, that's just opening up just to dump it. I mean, there's different like jets and there's all sorts of stuff. You can get carburetors that are more technical. All that's doing is just changing how much is dumped at the idle, which I mean, it helps. Because if I was to only put it at like if I was to close it up all the way and only put it at like 1.5, if I was to floor it, it would completely shut off because there's just not enough gas.
Right.
So now it's at 5.5. So basically, the more I do it, the more power I'm going to get, but my gas mileage just goes to complete shit.
It's miles per gallon, man.
Yeah, it goes to complete shit.
Let's get some gas in her.
So.
Oh, it's a Pontiac.
It's a Pontiac. See if he wants to roll. You want to roll? He don't want to roll.
He don't want to. He's like, now I'm good, bro. Keep going. He's that good.
Difference. These people that have these cars, they don't ever fucking drive them.
Yeah, they just cruise in them.
Yeah, they just fucking cruise in them. I'm like, fuck that. I am not cruising in my car. I'm gonna fucking go. I'm gonna enjoy. I put this motor in this car so I can fucking enjoy it.
Right.
I mean, it's not gonna be as fast as all the other ones or whatever, but I definitely, you know, it's, I don't know, it's almost like, what's the point, you know? Like, that was the whole reason behind the muscle car era. You know, people didn't have the cars to cruise. They had them to fucking go, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, now there was one guy, this guy had like an old Cutlass, like a 442, and when he was in when we were on Bruce B. Downs, he was getting on it, you know. That's when it's fun, man. It's like,
yeah.
But they did put softer suspension in this thing.
That's one way to do it. Get a trailer and deck it out.
Yeah. See all those bicycles? Like, Jesus.
Wow.
How many people did they bring? Yeah, so, I mean, this is only my personal opinion about it. A lot of people always ask me, why don't you put a spoiler on it? And because of how the back is, I feel like you can get away without it. I mean, if you look at it, if you look at the angles of how it is, it doesn't really, I mean, you always kind of associate Camaros with spoilers, but this one you can kind of get away with just by how the back is. Mm-hmm. You know, there's been, you know, it's kind of a 50-50 shot. Some people like it without the spoiler, and some people think it looks weird without it.
Everyone has a spoiler, though. Everybody's got that.
Yeah.
Everybody has a Z28 or some SS, you know?
Yeah. I mean, this one, it wasn't an LT. It was one step up from the inline 6, and it didn't come with a spoiler. And I liked it that way. I just felt like it, you know, I felt like the car looked pretty cool without it. But, you know, again, I think having the back of it really helps with it, you know. Definitely gives it a different look than what you're used to seeing.
Mm-hmm. And what mufflers you have on this?
Flowmasters 2.5s. I think. Oh, they're Flowmaster 40s.
Oh, they're 40s? Okay.
Yeah.
That has my Grand Prix, my 93.
Yeah.
They're
not like, they're not super, they're not ridiculous. You know?
No, but 40s are my favorite.
Yeah. And that was another thing too, like during the time that I had it, you know, a lot of the Chevy enthusiasts back in the day, they wanted to deviate from Flowmaster because they said everybody had Flowmaster, everybody had Craigers. That's why you don't see Crager rims on a lot of, you know, because they said back in the 70s and 80s, Crager was on like on every, you know, all the muscle cars. But I decided to keep it, and you know, now you don't see Craigers on hardly, you know, if you see Craigers, you don't see those. But these were actually very, very popular to put on a car back in the day. That was like the go-to thing to put on them.
Nah, I like them. I like that dish.
Yeah, the deep dish is what, you know, that was like the stance on it made it look really nice.
Well, don't get rid of them if you buy a new set. I would eventually try to restore them, and you could bring them back to life.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
You can bring everything back to life, just depends on how much money you have.
Well, I mean, you can do elbow grease on these and get them ready and prepped.
Yeah.
I mean, that one's pretty rough, but...
Yeah, that's because I wasn't very bright when I went on those, yeah.
So this is all aluminum too. This is gonna polish up real nice.
Yeah, you could polish that up and make it shine.
Dude, you could polish this today a little bit. Well, try a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you want to head back and see if you can?
Yeah, we could try. What's up with these holes here?
Well, I think that was...
You have lights on this thing or something?
No, but I think it used to be, those are the bumpers that used to be right there, I think. I'm not sure. I mean, because you could
look like it. I mean, you got a lot of dirt here. That's not recent.
Yeah. So. All right, you want to head back?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Another thing about the 74 Camaro, when I first got it, is the purist of the muscle car. They always claimed that this wasn't a muscle car. They always tell me it ended in 73.
Oh.
Yeah.
1 year?
Yeah. You don't have a real muscle car. It's a 74. It's not a real muscle car. Yeah. When I first had this car, yeah, people didn't really, they weren't really impressed by it at all. They were just like, you got a very common car. It seems to be a little more rare now.
Well, because people didn't want this car. They wanted other cars.
Yeah. Back in the 90s, they wanted Chevelles and you know, and back then they weren't that expensive. Yeah, carburetors are crazy. My dad, he had a manual choke carburetor, and every time he would go like over a light where there was a hump, the car would cut off, and then it would cut back on, because it's just, yeah, any little hump or anything, it would like cut off and it would have to cut back on. I mean, that's just how carburetors are. It's like it's like the waiting game. You're like, all right, let the fuel get back in, and then get back in, you start driving again. Yeah, that's kind of like, you know, that's what it kind of does when I get on it, when I floor it, you know. Acts like it's about to run out of gas, and I gotta let go of the gas pedal, and it comes